Every morning you wake up, step into the bathroom, and look in the mirror. You adjust your collar. You observe the new wrinkles forming at the corners of your eyes. You put absolute trust in that cold glass, believing its silver surface serves only one purpose: to reflect your safe and familiar world. You consider the mirror an inanimate object, a closed, flat plane. But for the SCP Foundation, mirrors are never just glass and silver. Mirrors are boundaries, potential cracks on the surface of reality. What if your mirror doesn't reflect this world, but instead opens a pathway leading straight into the graveyard of another reality? A world where humanity terminated itself in a quest for salvation from a cruel god? Today, we will open the file on SCP-093, the story of a tiny object that acts as a master key, unlocking the door to an existential hell, a place where human sins are not judged. They are absorbed. Welcome to the world of the Red Sea object. Do not stare into the mirror for too long, because perhaps, from the other side, something colossal and faceless is also staring back at you. From the outside, the containment procedures for SCP-093 look more like a superstitious joke than a scientific method. It must be placed on a mirror inside a metal box, and the containment room must be equipped with surveillance cameras. Sounds simple, right? But the desperation lies in this detail. If SCP-093 is not placed on a mirror, it will go find one itself. That's right, SCP-093 is not an inanimate stone. When separated from a reflective surface, it will begin to roll on its own. It rolls at a terrifying speed, constantly accelerating, ready to punch through any concrete wall or steel plate in its path, until it smashes face first into the surface of a mirror. The Foundation doesn't contain it using physical force. They have to use the very doors themselves to keep it in place, much like throwing a piece of meat to distract a predator. Physically, SCP-093 is a disc made from a type of stone originating from the Red Sea, engraved with intricate circular symbols that do not belong to any civilization on Earth. It emits a soft red glow of its own, but that color is not fixed. SCP-093 is an object that can read souls. When you hold it in your hand, its temperature changes, and its color will shift based on your psychological state, remorse, and the deepest sins you are hiding can change to the blue of regret, the green of torment, the yellow of deceit, or the primal crimson red of an ultimate nightmare. But its ability to change color is just a cheap magic trick compared to its true purpose. When a person holds SCP-093 and steps in front of a mirror, the laws of quantum physics completely collapse. The glass is no longer solid. The surface of the mirror begins to fluctuate, rippling like a pond after a stone is thrown into it. If you step forward, your body will sink into that mirror, passing through the fragile silver layer and crossing into another dimension. A world existing in parallel, but one that met its end a very, very long time ago. The SCP Foundation has conducted countless expeditions. They dispatched Class D personnel, handed them SCP-093, strapped cameras to their heads, and pushed them through the mirror. What they recorded was not an alien wasteland, nor a kaleidoscopic dimension. What they found was an Earth with fields, highways, and bustling urban areas. But there was no birdsong, no engine noises, no life. Everything was blanketed in a sickly, gloomy light and a sticky brown muck that reeked of death. And there, wandering amidst the ruins of a fanatical civilization, were the new masters of the world. Things that shouldn't exist. Now, adjust the safety harness of your hazmat suit. We are going to step through that mirror. Close your eyes. Imagine you are a Class D personnel holding a stone emitting a green light. You step toward the mirror. The glass surface doesn't break. It swallows you whole. A freezing sensation runs down your spine as you wade through a layer of invisible liquid. And when you open your eyes, the laboratory is gone. You are standing in a grassy field. But the grass here isn't green. It is withered yellow and bone dry. The sky bears a sickly light brown hue. No sun, no clouds, just a thick fog reeking of rust and something sickly sweet, like the smell of dried blood mixed with artificial sweeteners. You walk down a cracked asphalt road. Surrounding you are skyscrapers, gas stations, and abandoned supermarkets. But the strange thing is, there are no corpses, no human bones. Everything seems to have evaporated. The only things left are empty sets of clothes scattered everywhere, as if their owners were dissolved while still wearing them. You feel the ground shake. Not an earthquake. It's the rhythm of footsteps. Something massive is approaching. You duck into a ruined building, holding your breath as you peek out the window. And then, from within the brown fog, it emerges. The Foundation calls them the Unclean. It is dozens of times taller than a normal human. A colossal humanoid torso, naked and a pale grayish color. But it has no lower half. It drags its massive upper body across the ground using two gigantic arms. Every time it plants its hands to pull itself forward, the ground trembles and cracks. But the absolute horror does not lie in its size. The horror lies in its face, because it has no face. Where its eyes, nose, and mouth should be, there is only a smooth, pale, featureless plane. Its body doesn't seem to be solid flesh, but rather a mass of slimy gelatin tightly compressed beneath a thin layer of skin. And as it glides past your hiding spot, you see the worst part of all. Beneath the grayish, semi-transparent skin of that giant are human faces. Thousands of human faces trapped inside, contorted, screaming in silence, bobbing up and down in the monster's grotesque bodily fluids. They are trying to surface, pressing their agonized faces against the skin of the Unclean, as if seeking a gasp of air they will never, ever get. You realize the truth. The empty clothes on the street. Their owners didn't evaporate. They were absorbed into this thing. Suddenly, the faceless one stops. It turns its smooth head toward the building you are hiding in. It has no eyes, but it has seen you. Do you wonder what tragedy the world inside SCP-093 went through? They weren't invaded by aliens. They weren't destroyed by nuclear war. The SCP Foundation found documents and abandoned diary fragments to piece together the big picture. A picture that exposes the ultimate arrogance of mankind. That world was once far more technologically advanced than ours, but they were ruled by an absolute theocracy, led by an entity they called the Father. The Father promised a perfect society, free of sin and disease. His solution was a mysterious liquid, known as holy tears, a brown chemical distributed to all citizens to cleanse the sins and impurities in their souls. The people of that world voluntarily drank these tears, injected them into their veins, and bathed in them with a blind faith that they would become pure. But you cannot wash away sin through physical means. Remorse and evil are not bacteria that you can eradicate with medicine. When that liquid encountered impure souls, it did not heal. It mutated them. It fused the flesh of the sinful together, melted their bones, and created the Unclean. Gigantic, roaming bodies, starving, searching for and absorbing other living creatures to continue swelling in size. The theocratic regime tried to fight back against them. They built state-of-the-art energy weapons, guns that fired light capable of melting metal. But it was useless. The Unclean did not die. If you shot off its arm, another arm would simply sprout from the slimy gel. The SCP Foundation realized a brutal truth. You cannot kill an Unclean, because you cannot kill the very embodiment of evil. And this is the existential consequence that suffocates the Foundation's site directors. The world inside SCP-093 is dead. The Unclean have devoured all life. Now they are wandering the wastelands, starving. Their wicked sense of smell can detect the scent of life from very, very far away. And do you know what they smell? They smell you. They smell over 8 billion lives swarming on the other side of the mirror. SCP-093 is not a magical door to explore. It is a rusted valve. The Foundation is not protecting the world by researching it. They are trembling as they place a fragile gauze bandage over a crack in a colossal dam. The faceless ones out there are aware of the existence of our world. They are always there, right behind the silver-coated glass. Anytime SCP-093 is accidentally activated, anytime the mirror opens, those giant, slimy hands will grab the boundary of reality, tear through the veil, and drag our Earth into their grotesque sea of hopeless atonement. And the SCP Foundation has absolutely no weapon that could stop them. We often assume that our doom will come from something grandiose: an asteroid crashing into Earth, a fiery nuclear war, or the explosion of a black hole. But the SCP-093 file is a chilling whisper reminding us that the apocalypse is sometimes just a few millimeters of glass away. That desolate world out there, with its sickly brown sky and roaming Unclean, is not a random universe. It is the darkest reflection of humanity itself. They fell not because they were weak, but because they tried to deny human nature, attempting to wash away sins that can never be washed away. What about our world? We deceive, we hurt each other, we hide crimes and selfishness behind civilized smiles. And on the other side of the mirror, the olfactory senses of the faceless ones are sniffing out that very rot. They crave our sins. They are merely waiting for someone to accidentally pick up a stone originating from the Red Sea. Tonight, before you go to bed, you will step into the bathroom again. You will turn on the glaring white fluorescent light, lean over the sink, and splash cold water onto your skin to wash away the exhaustion of a long day. And then, out of unconscious habit, you will look up and stare directly into your own reflection in the mirror. But the next time you do that, linger for a few extra seconds. Look deeply into your eyes within that reflective glass. If you notice that the mirror's surface is not entirely flat, if your image seems to be gently fluctuating like a lake swept by the wind, and a sickly sweet scent of blood and rust slowly creeps into your nose, do not attempt to touch the glass. Turn your back and walk out, because there is a very good chance that fragile layer of glass is no longer reflecting your face. It is reflecting something colossal, slimy, and faceless, pressing itself against the glass from the other side, eagerly waiting for you to open the door yourself.